first query that we have, Kunal, I'm going to come to you for Titan, and the buy price that they've mentioned is 62 rupees. Now, Major BV Nayak is the person who's written to us, and they're asking if they should be booking profits at this point or adding more shares. So what is your view here?
I think at 62 rupees, if you've bought, the stock is at 3,600, 3,700 levels. I think it makes sense to hold on to the stock. No need to look at exit for the stock, at least as of now, looking at the way many of the peers are performing, and we've seen many of the peers for Titan coming back into a breakout, a multi-month high. Some of them have hit even life highs for themselves. So I think in that context, there could be a steady recovery which could be at play for Titan even going forward. I would suggest a hold.
Alright, so that's a hold coming in for Titan. Very good morning to you, Kunal. Good morning to you as well, Mr. Chokkalingam. Thank you so much for joining us on the show. And Mr. Chokkalingam, let me come to you because this one is coming in from Karun, who is writing to us from Delhi. And he wants to know whether he should look to exit ICICI Securities before its merger with ICICI Bank or stay on with the stock till the merger is completed or the merger is underway.
I would suggest sell because eventually once it is merged, the banking sector's outlook is not robust. There are several headwinds now, and also even in the security business, things are going to become very tough in terms of competitive intensity. So therefore, you can sell the stock.
Thanks, Mr. G. Chokkalingam, for getting us that view coming in. We also have Nikhil Sharma, who's writing to us from Mumbai, and he has 25 shares of SBI at a price of 885. So what is the view, Kunal, that you have there, as well as what he's asking is if he should go ahead to book profits or hold on for a longer term? And he also has another query. He's asking if it's a good time to sell L&T as well as Dabur.
So L&T and Dabur, I would suggest a hold if you're a long-term investor, because, and I'm not sure of your buy price, but I'm assuming if you're sitting on good profits into these stocks and if you have purchased these stocks at much lower levels, then it makes a lot of sense to hold on to these names, looking at the long-term structure for these stocks. SBI could be a tricky case. Now the stock last week was in the thick of news flow, and that's why you saw the stock getting into a sharper price action. My expectation is that the stock should be able to retest the 200 DMA and maybe trade below those levels for a couple of weeks before it finds some stability of support. So which means that sub 750 could be a level where you may look to average the stock in case the market structure remains intact. So that would be a call on SBI.
Alright, so that's the view coming in on SBI. A couple of counters actually that I have. Kunal, let me take it to you because you have Sridhar from Bangalore. He's bought about 2,000 shares of Canara Bank at 119. He's got IRFC at the price of 175. He's got IRCTC at 990 rupees per share. Now he wants to know whether he should look to sell or average or hold all of these counters. What's your take coming in on all of them? IRFC, Canara Bank as well as IRCTC, because in all three of them, as I can see, he's making marginal losses.
Yeah, and I think the chart structures for these stocks have dampened significantly because Canara Bank, for example, I think is trading below the long-term averages. The charts have managed to make a fresh low. The stock has managed to make a fresh low on I think a 9-month or a 10-month kind of a basis. So that itself indicates the sudden weakness the stock has gotten into. I would suggest that you should look to exit all three of the names on minor bits of rally. So in case if, for example, Canara Bank gets into a recovery to 104, 105 levels, say over the next couple of days, I would probably believe that that could be a good territory where you may look to exit. And same would be the case with the likes of IRFC as well as IRCTC. Any kind of a marginal bounce back or a recovery into these stocks would probably get back to your cost price, and I think that could be a good level where you may look to exit.
Alright, thanks Kunal for that update coming in. So there's another viewer named Johan who's writing to us about Adani Power that he bought 2.5 years back. Now, Mr. Chokkalingam, he has 400 shares of Adani Power. He's asking if he should hold for a few more years or sell. What is your view coming in here?
Certainly, its valuation is stretched. If you look at enterprise value per megawatt of installed capacity of new renewable energy. However, the stock has already corrected, and if he is willing to hold for another 2-3 years, he can continue to hold because of the consolidation of the capacity further and the expansion plan might give a decent return in the very long term.
Next one is coming in from Sami, and he wants to know about Aavas Financiers. Kunal, he's not told us the quantity of the shares, but the buy price is 1780 rupees per share when it comes to Aavas Financiers. What should he do right now with this one? How the chart's looking? For the last 3 months, the stock has done absolutely nothing. but the viewer is in money.
So I would suggest a hold on Aavas. Now, there's the stock is getting back into a thick of volume uptrend. So what's been missing out for Aavas Finances over the last, I think, 2 years, 2021 second half is where the stock had made a high, which was about the 3,000 levels. Then the stock went through a consistent kind of a 2-year correction, coming back towards, I think, 1400 or 1500 was the low the stock made for itself, and now it's getting back into the thick of recovery. Now, what's changed for Aavas Financiers on the positive side is volumes picking up, where you've seen very slowly, gradually, the volume inching up higher, the stock trying to get back into a recovery phase, and it's now very close towards a breakout of the first swing resistance, which is at 1980 mark for Aavas Financiers. So my sense is that the stock is now started off or ended a phase of a correction, starting off a phase of a potential upside. I think this could be a good time where you should look to hold on.
Alright, so potential upside in store for Aavas Financiers. Mr. Chokkalingam, I'm going to come to you. We have a viewer named Subrata Mukherjee writing to us from Calcutta, and they're asking about Coal India. So what is your view coming in for Coal India in terms of a long-term view then?
Long-term, even medium to long-term view is very good, and also the short-term is slightly priced in because a few weeks back it went as high as 540, and after the news of the court giving judgment on the tax by the state governments, it has corrected. Now at this price, I think one can hold, and one can even buy for medium to long term because it is diversifying into many other minerals related to lithium batteries, and the productivity, employee productivity is increasing, and also focusing a lot on renewable energy capacity expansion. So all this would augur well, and still, you have a very good dividend yield as well. So that would also give, and being a large cap stock, that's another advantage in this market condition. So therefore, I would say that one can even buy, and definitely buy and hold for medium to long term.
All right, that's the take coming in on Coal India. Kunal, coming to you, Abhimanyu Kohli is writing to us from New Delhi. He has about 1,250 shares of Union Bank at 121 rupees per share. He's holding it for the last 9 months, but the stock is not moving. He wants to know whether he should stay invested in it for another year or switch on to something else altogether. What's your take coming in on Union Bank? We had previously someone ask about Canara Bank. In fact, these PSU counters are also, along with that, PSU banking index also is taking a bit easy. So what should viewers do? Get perturbed by this move that is coming about in these PSU counters, or stay put with them, post faith in the franchise?
See, I think what matters is that what's your entry price into these stocks, what's your time horizon which you're looking out for. Because one thing is very certain. I was doing this sectoral analysis over the last few months, and PSU banking index ranked to be amongst the underperforming sectors in terms of relative strength. What we are seeing right now in the last 2-3 weeks is price damage, which has come back into the PSU banking names. So which means that over the last 3-4 months or so, these stocks were going through a relative correction for themselves, and now the prices have started to get back into a corrective phase. Concern for the charts for Union Bank, and I sounded off for Canara Bank, etc., is that these stocks have come back below their long-term moving averages. Now, the more the time period they sustain below the long-term moving averages, the more could be a potential time-wise as well as a price-wise correction for these stocks. So that's the only concern which is emerging for these PSU banking names. That's why I probably believe that it depends on your time frame. If you're looking at this say as a next 1 to 3 month, then there could be a more price correction into these stocks. But if you're looking at this as the next 3 years to 5 years, then the potential upside could be significant, and this corrective wave should be taken as an advantage.
Alright, so corrective wave should be taken as an advantage, and that's the view coming in from Kunal. But Kunal, I'm going to come back to you. We have Myla writing to us from Bangalore, and they're asking if it's a good time to buy into Bajaj Housing Finance today. So what's your view here?
We may not be able to comment on the same.
Mr. Chokkalingam, what's your view coming in Bajaj Housing? Because the fact that the IPO opens today, a lot of the viewers have actually written to us whether how is Bajaj Housing, does it look attractive, does it make sense for someone to actually enter this particular segment, as in apply for the IPO for Bajaj Housing. Have you actually studied the financials of this upcoming IPO which is opening today?
No, I really not looked at the price to book value, but still I can say that considering the market condition, one can definitely apply because of the management quality for possible listing gain, because more than 9 out of 10 stocks have given a gain on listing. So therefore, from a tactical point of view, I would suggest apply and sell on listing.
All right, that's the take coming in from Mr. Chokkalingam as well. He's not actually seen the Bajaj Housing IPO, but let's actually cut across to an event where Aisha is in conversation with guests.
Indian Oil and us, who sets it up first. And now all of these are possible, of course, thanks to companies like Shell, who have already done certain understanding of it, and post that, of course, they have global mandates. But companies like us have the flexibility to take decisions and, set up industries in the transitioning fuels. Right? The biggest requirement for this is definitely policy and partnership. And partnerships, of course, there are a lot happening even today. Be it a small company like us today, there are Maharatna companies coming forward to and also trying to partner with us. There are companies like Total Energies, global giants, who are trying to partner with us to set up these aviation fuel plants, right? So it's just the right lookout for us. I'll tell you one more interesting point, sir. So we have more than 7,000 tractors that supply this sugarcane to us, right? We have started converting these tractors to dual feed. They can either run on CBG or they can run on diesel. Now, these have already been proven, and it's a challenge for us to get the RTO approvals because each model has to get an RTO approval. And we get all these RTO approvals, and the tractors are being used by the farmers now. So I think so far we have converted more than 80 tractors. It's still a long path for us to convert more than 7,000 tractors. But this is only demonstrating that just one vehicle type, that's the tractors, will give us an opportunity to scale up to set up more than 100 plants in one district alone. That's the kind of requirement that this country can give us. And all of the fuel that we generate, the CBG or the ethanol or the aviation fuel, the most interesting aspect of it is not just saving ecology, it's creating a rural economy. So when the
multiplier effect, yeah.
So when the rural economy is strengthened, that's when we really grow as a country. So I think the biofuel story is just at its in the beginning, and we've still not seen what all it can do. Of course, companies like Shell will show us the path so that we can work, without any thoughts of what if. The what if question will be addressed by larger giants like you, ma'am, and we will tread that path and create more opportunities of fuel availability.
Right. Mansi, you've seen, and he made such an interesting point about all that Shell is doing. And it's not, there's so many technical advancements and research that you guys put in day in and day out. Over the decades of experience, where do you think energy as a sector is headed? Not now, not tomorrow, 20 years hence maybe. I mean, what's the energy sector going to look like?
I wish I had the crystal ball to be telling all of that and then making a lot of money through it. But I guess the short answer on this one would be, I think the end objective is very clear for everybody, which is that, if you look at any country or any company, everybody wants to be net zero. Mr. Bali talked about it 2040, we are talking 2050, and India is talking about 2070, etc., etc. All of us want to be net zero.
Welcome back. You're watching Buy Now, Sell Now on ET Now. Let's continue taking off all of his stock-related queries. This next one is coming in from Sheelu, who's writing to us from Chennai. And Mr. Chokkalingam, Sheelu wants to know between Amara Raja Batteries and Exide Industries, which one do you think is the best bet to play for the longer term? Because both of them are into similar categories. They are into the same industry. Both of them are also transitioning to the EV space as well.
Yeah, based on these two options, Exide is better than Amara Raja. And if you permit me, on Bajaj Housing Finance, I just got back the valuation. It is around 3.7 times price to book value. And it is slightly stretched, but then within Bajaj Group, most of these finance companies are trading at even 6-7 times price to book value. And therefore, I feel there is not much risk in applying for IPO from the medium to long-term perspective. So apart from possible short-term gain, this IPO can possibly give even medium to long-term return.
That's the view coming in there, but Kunal, I'm going to come to you. We have Raghavendra writing to us from Bengaluru, and he has 2,100 shares of Zomato that he purchased at a price of 266. Hold or sell coming in for this one?
Well, sir, it's a hold as of now. If you're looking at this as a short-term trade, say with a time frame of next 1 to 3 weeks, then I would suggest that keep a swing low stop loss of the previous support for Zomato, which was around the 240 mark. In case of the stock closes below the 240 levels, then we may expect a further correction coming back into the stock. Otherwise, I think the stock charts look okay, and even if it gets into a time-wise consolidation but doesn't break about 240 mark, would suggest a hold.
Mr. Chokkalingam, the next query is coming from Ramesh, writing to us from Kochi. He has 50 shares of VA Techwabag at 300 rupees per share. Our viewer is a long-term investor, wants to know whether it makes sense to stay put with VA Techwabag for the long term. What's your take coming in on VA Techwabag, given the fact that the space that the stock is or the company is in is a very niche play, and also it, I think, has a lot of dominance in that category, isn't it?
Yeah, however, considering his historical stock price performance as well as volatility in earning, and also considering the working capital pattern of this company, where receivables normally very high as a percentage of sales, I would suggest taking a short-term view on the stock rather than long-term. So therefore, if it rises another 5%, also one can book profit, and as and when the stock corrects, substantially, one can re-enter. But again, I would always have a short-term view on the stock.
You coming in for VA Techwabag. Kunal, I'm going to come to you. Suresh from Dubai is writing to us about HAL. 1,320 shares is what he's holding on to with an average price of 1,870. So what's your view coming in here?
I think if you bought at 1,800 plus levels, the stock is at 46, 4,700 so far. It's been a fantastic chart to look at over the last 2 years or so, where the stock has moved from 1,500 odd levels, 2,000 levels to almost 5,500, if I'm not wrong, was the high for HAL. So it looks attractive from a longer term play. It's going through a correction. There could be a possibility that the stock may retest its 200 DMA, which is at 4,200, 300 mark. So I would probably believe that there could be one more leg of correction. But since you've bought at much lower levels, and I'm assuming you're a long-term investor, I would suggest to stay put.
All right, HAL, for a second I was wondering when was that stock price or stock around the 1,500 levels, but yes, it was not so far long ago. Actually, in the last 1 year only, the run-up has been spectacular, and the other count also which has seen a spectacular run-up, Mr. Chokkalingam, is Cochin Shipyard. We have a viewer who's Ramchandran, who's written to us, and he has 3,000 shares of Cochin Shipyard. He purchased it at the levels of around 2,738 rupees per share. He wants to hold it for the long term. Does it make sense? Because now he's one of those candidates who've actually lost wealth because he has actually invested at a higher price band, unlike our previous viewer.
Yeah, my heart bleeds to recommend this because I recommended the stock at 1/10 of the value on the same channel repeatedly many times. Of course, that doesn't come into the judgment at current value. My firm view is that at current price, it is extremely stretched in terms of valuation. And unless the PSU theme once again resumes a massive upward journey, this stock might fall at least another 10 to 15% from current level. Therefore, I would suggest sell.
That's the view coming in on Cochin Shipyard there. Mr. Chokkalingam, I'm going to come back to you. In the PSU banking pack, is there any investment idea that you have in terms of stocks to buy for the next 3 years then?
Definitely, banks like Maharashtra Bank, Canara Bank, they are all very, very, even SBI, very high quality bank. But I would suggest to wait for September results, because the industry is facing, several headwinds which I have not seen in the last 20 years. Several headwinds playing out simultaneously, like reducing CD ratio, increasing the liquidity ratio, the pressure on deposit rate, the moderation, the deposit growth rate, pressure on the CASA rate, and provision for expected credit loss the banks have to make. So all these are playing out. Even the credit growth rate has slipped down, expected to slip down by 200, 300 basis points as compared to last financial year. So all these headwinds are playing out against the banking sector. Therefore, you identify the quality banks like SBI, Bank of Maharashtra, Canara Bank, but I would suggest wait for September results and then take a call to buy these stocks.
All right, then on that note, we slip into a break on this edition of Buy Now, Sell Now. When we come back, we'll continue taking your query. Viewers, don't go anywhere.
Welcome back. Thank you so much for staying tuned in. Remember, you can write to us on the number that is flashing on the top of your screens. Do remember to write to us with the buy price if you're already invested in a stock. And when it comes to fresh investment ideas, do mention your investment horizon as well. Let's keep it going with the queries. Then we have an investor named Raghunath writing to us from Bangalore, Mr. Chokkalingam. And he's asking about Ola Electric. What is your view coming in there?
I would sell Ola Electric at current price as well, because I believe valuations are extremely stretched, and the competition is intensifying in two-wheeler electric vehicles. So therefore, the margin is going to be killed by intense competition over the next 3 to 5 years, and hence I would give a sell call on Ola at current price.
All right, so that's the take coming in on Ola Electric. This one is coming in on Bosch, actually, from Venu, who's writing to us from Chennai. 5 shares of Bosch at the price of 33,900 rupees per share. Kunal, what's the target coming in for Bosch for the next 3 months?
See, it looks like that the stock had a breakout few days back, but then that got fizzled out very quickly, and the stock has retraced back towards its previous swing lows. My sense is that it could probably be into a territory where it may get into a time-wise correction. So if you're looking to trade this stock, then the two ranges which matters quite a lot for a stock like Bosch would be on the downside 31,750 to be precise as a support for the stock on the short-term basis, and on the upside we could be looking at 34,000 to 34,500 as a resistance for the stock. So closer to that 31,750 is where you should look to average out further so that you can bring your cost price down. And on the upside, if the stock gets closer to the resistance of 34,500 approximately, good time where you may look to exit.
All right, so basically that's all about Bosch. Before that, we spoke about Ola Electric. And just a quick note for all of our viewers, today we are celebrating the World EV Day, and all through the course of the day, you will find who's who in the EV arena right here on ET Now. We spoke to the management of Mahindra of JSW, MG Motors as well as Revolt Motors, and come 12 o'clock, we will be speaking to KPIT Tech with Tata Tech as well as with Switch Mobility to understand the roadmap coming in for the entire EV space and where the technology is headed from here on. So yes, do catch that special broadcast right here on ET Now all through the course of the day as we celebrate the World EV Day.
If you like this video, then like, share and subscribe to ET Now.